Hello again and welcome to this season of goodwill. We're still in the Christmas season, not very far off now of welcoming a new year. This is a short live webinar that I'm guided to record for you and for our community, for our friends and associates, and for those who may be on the cusp, procrastinating, doubting. Should I, shouldn't I, what if? I guess over a number of years I've met such a varied group of fascinating, interesting, sometimes troubled, insecure individuals. And what I've discovered is that so often God chooses not the well and the wise, but the broken and the wounded. Because unless we're broken to our ego, we can never ever hear the voice of the beloved. Because our own voice gets in the way. And often the more learned and articulate we are, the more academic we are, many run into problems of always questioning the voice of God. This short video has a title, a theme, as a personal Christmas reflection for a new year, 2017 to be precise. And what I was given just 5 minutes ago, before going live, doubting your own integrity as a child of God. And I'm guided to share with you the notes that I've made over the last week or two. So please bear with me if you see me reading from the notes. If you were asked, what do you do or where do you go to find God? How would you reply? This is a question that many have asked themselves over the years and who've asked me over many years. Some people say they find God in going to church, while others say they find God in nature as I do. This is very true, but we need to find God or source or spirit wherever or whatever name you wish to call God. Not only on a Sunday do we find God, when we go to church, if we're fortunate to find God, or when we take a walk in nature, but in our day-to-day life. And the way to really find God, I think, is to get to know our inner self, or the God within who we are as a child of God. Our journey here in this life, we are all seekers of the truth of God or Spirit. We need to ask ourselves, what are we really seeking? Are we seeking something that will make us happy? Or are we seeking something that will make us feel at peace within our hearts? My guess is that most people that are searching for peace of mind are really searching for peace of the heart, or the God within, in this crazy mixed up world where you and I are members of. It is easy to become part of the craziness and to live life on a treadmill. I did for many years as a nursing monk, and then as a senior nurse in palliative care. Not so much now that I'm an enclosed contemplative, although life is busy in keeping a monastery, the feeding, the community, the washing, the ironing, caring for the hens, the doves, the garden, which I love. We need to stop the treadmill in our life and just sit in silence for a few minutes each day to meditate and get in touch with God or Spirit within. Here is a great saying worth remembering. You should meditate for 20 minutes each day. And if you don't have 20 minutes, then you should meditate for 30 minutes. This is a great way to escape from the craziness we find ourselves in each day, and also a way to get to know the real you, and the God within. And when we go within our hearts, we come to know God's plan for us. As we embrace his plans for our lives, we realize we can accomplish anything, for with God, all things are possible. And for those who are devout churchgoers, those words should ring true. With God, all things are possible. In Matthew chapter 19:26 of the New Testament Christian Bible, says Jesus looked at them and said, "For mortals it is impossible, but with God all things are possible." You could say to that mountain, "Move," and it'll move, not that I would. He will fulfill your promises. God, who is both male and female, I call Father, Mother God, loves us more than we can ever comprehend. And their love, wait for it, is unconditional. But when it comes down to it, many of us have a hard time balancing what God thinks about us and what we believe about ourselves. Many of us believe we are not good enough or unworthy to deserve something in our life, as I have done through my upbringing with religious bashing as a Catholic. Unless you go to church, you're going to go to hell. Oh, the times I've had that drummed into me. But you know, I've come to realize, having made so many mistakes and having fallen down so many times, guess who helps me get up again? Jesus. I am not a born-again Christian. I am not an evangelical Christian. I'm a simple, ordinary child of God who embraces God, not in academia, not in dogma, and not in ritual, but by embracing the divine in nature, like Francis of Assisi did. And if we believe that we are created from God and are God's children, why in the world would we even think we are not good enough or unworthy when God blesses us with something such as a loving family, a loving relationship with someone, or anything that brings us a feeling of inner peace? Don't question it or doubt it. Doubt or questioning everything is a lack of faith. Faith in God or your higher power. This kind of thinking will keep you in the darkness, a place where you don't want to be, a place where I've been many times on my spiritual path, and we call it the dark night of the soul. Don't go there, I beg you. It's not a nice place to be in, because you feel devoid of God, of love, of security and stability. It has no foundation. You feel totally crushed in your spirit. And then God brings you some light. He throws you a rope. You grab it with all your might and strength, and you never let it go again. This kind of thinking will keep you in the darkness, a place where you don't want to be. At times we all have feelings of being in the darkness, and the only way out is with a light, and that light is God's love. Trust me, God's love. I always like to refer to this story when talking about the light within us. A man was going for a drive one night, and as he started for the door, he dropped his car keys. As he bent down to pick them up, the power went off and he was left in the dark. What a horrible place to be in. Feeling around the floor for his keys, he noticed the street light was across the street. So he went across the street under the light looking for his keys. Some neighbor came along and asked him what he was looking for. He said he had dropped his car keys, and his neighbor said, "Let me help you." After some time, his neighbor said, "Are you sure you dropped your car keys here?" The man replied, "Oh no, I dropped them," wait for it, "in the house." "Then why are you looking for them out here?" the neighbor asked. The man said, "The power went off in the house and I was left in the dark. So I came out here where there is light." Does that resonate with you? It does with me. Where are you looking for the key to a spiritual life? On the inside or on the outside? Where are you looking for it? Wow, where? Let us look at the beginning of our life. We were created by God, or love in his image, in their image. And that image is love. Just think of it, that we are a miracle given to the universe by God. We are God's children, and being God's children, we are a piece of God, or source, or supreme, from where we originated from. I cannot stress enough how important it is to connect with that little spark, a spark within your heart, and work to make it grow, to have a fulfilled spiritual or God-conscious life. Always try to see yourself in that light. The ego keeps its grip by making you feel needy and powerless. From this sense of lack grows a hunger to acquire everything in sight: money, power, and pleasure are supposed to fill up the emptiness in our hearts, but they never do. You can escape this painful illusion if you see yourself in the light. Most people are addicted to worry. I've seen it in our community with some members. One in particular said, "Oh, well, my mother was a worrier, and I'm a worrier." So I said, "You don't have to be a worrier." But their adamancy, and they were getting quite stroppy. How do I get rid of worry? They come to you looking for a magic wand. All they have to do is to kneel down into the presence of the I Am presence of God and say, "I'm struggling with this worry. Will you help me face it, bless it, and release it?" I've seen it over the years when I returned home to Ireland and I'd go to Mass and I'd see various Christians on a regular basis doing the rounds of all the statues. There'd be about 12 different statues, and they'd be going to each one, and then one would come up and say, "Father, will you pray for me?" I said, "I'm not a father, love. I'm just a nursing monk." "Oh, will you pray for me anyway?" I said, "Can I ask you, what do you do when you go to all of the statues?" "Oh, sure, I ask their help for all my requests." "But are they the same?" "Oh, Jesus, yes, they are." Forgive me for using the Lord's name. But I said, "But why? Why don't you just ask once, name it, bless it, and release it to God in trust and say, 'Thank you, God, for taking this worry, this burden from my heart. Oh, Jesus, no, I couldn't do that. Oh, God would be annoyed with me. You see the brainwashing, the negative. And I'd say, you only have to ask God once. Because to keep on asking for the same thing over, it shows a lack of trust on our part. Then they'd sit down with us and say, please will you pray with me? I just hold them in my arm and just pray what I've shared with you. When we go live morning and evening on our live stream channel, we always say, if you are troubled or worried about yourself or someone you love, or if someone has done something harmful to you, name it, it's yours. Bless it, it's yours. Release it to God and leave it with God. Just say thank you. But those two words are not very commonplace, even in monasteries, because we're living in a society of takers. Give me, give me, give me. We're not a Walmart supermarket where you go in and you grab this, grab that, and grab the other. Where has politeness gone from our belief in a loving God? Control and doubt don't listen to the voice of ego that says, you have to be in charge. Instead, let spirit try a new way and be willing to experiment. And if it doesn't work out, Jesus will not write you off. Refer to the poem Footprints, the footprints in the sand. Intend for everything to work out as it should. Then let it go and let God be in control and allow opportunities to come your way by not blocking your abundance from God. And the Therapeutae Essenes, who were a Jewish sect who lived by the Red Sea or Lake Mareotis, they were devout monks, therapists, who would sell their products and give the money to the poor. But they introduced us to 7 beautiful affirmations, which I have used in my healing ministry. 4 are forgiveness and 3 are positive, but they are the founding fathers of psychotherapy. If you want a copy, email me, but you say them for 30 days, first thing in the morning, and they work. The outcome you are trying so hard to force may not be as good for you as the one that comes naturally from the God within. Embrace the unknown. Over the years, you have formed likes and dislikes as I have, and learned to accept certain limits. None of this is real you. You can't force the real you. You have to allow the soul within your being to reveal itself in its own time. But be assured that the unknown is awaiting you, one that has nothing to do with the I you know. The part of you that you know is the part that flickers out over time. When you feel a new impulse, an uplifting thought, an insight that you have never acted upon before. Embrace the unknown. Cherish it as a newborn baby. God lives in the unknown. And when you can embrace it fully, you will be free. And the world and your world won't seem crazy. But for those who procrastinate and who doubt the word of God, should I become a member of this community? Should I become a model? Should I learn to drive? And they get yes. A day or two later, ego kicks in. Or if you're a monastic, the Antichrist. What was that you agreed to? Well, let's look at it. Let's assimilate. Let's evaluate. You get tied up in knots. And before you know it, your head is trapped so high up that it can't breathe. Who did the Mother of God appear to in her apparitions? Was it the cardinals and the popes? Was it the President of the United States, or the Prime Minister of London, or the Queen of England? No. It was the uneducated, those who are simple in their belief. Look at Fatima, the 3 children, but look at Lourdes and little Bernadette, Subaru, a little peasant girl, where Mother Mary asked her to dig a hole with her bare hands and wash her face with it, and the whole world and its mother were there watching her, including the Archbishop and all the hierarchy, and her mom was just weeping inside because she could see them all laughing at her daughter. But she did as the Mother of God asked, because she was told that if she did that, a stream would evolve and a river that would bring healing down through the centuries. Bernadette never seen the river or the flow of water, because her mother came and took her away, while all those bystanders laughed and mocked. Why would the Mother of God appear to somebody like her? Sure, she's a nobody. I've heard it before. It's happened to me. What would he know? But do you know what? The young man in the village who fancied Bernadette something shocking was sat chatting to his mate, and his feet were dangling, almost touching the ground, and oblivious to the water, he suddenly thought, oh my God, there's a river. And he went running for Bernadette, but she'd gone. Sometimes God does not want us to see the end result of what we do. I guess it's like being the founder of this community. I hold it very light because it's God's, not mine. I never see the prayers, the thousands of prayers that go up each day for maybe you or someone else. And that's a good thing, because it stops us becoming complacent. Because complacency, like procrastination, it's the thief of time. So let us come back. Do you doubt your own integrity as a child of God? If you do, be honest and say so, name it, bless it, and give it to God. And then ask Christ, ask God into your heart to show you a way that is simple. Or is that too simple for you? I'm not here to dictate to you. I've had too many people dictate to me over the years, as a postulant, as a novice, as a young scholastic monk, as a professed monk, as a nurse manager, and in the end you become cabbaged. The best way to discern what God is saying to you is in silence. But today many are afraid of silence. They're afraid of silence, the language of love, God's love. I'm going to conclude with a beautiful Celtic benediction, and I dedicate it to you. Deep peace pure white of the moon to you, deep peace pure green of the grass to you, deep peace pure brown of the earth to you, deep peace pure grey of the dew to you, deep peace pure blue of the sky to you, deep peace of the running wave to you, deep peace of the flowing air to you, deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the shining stars to you, and deep peace of the Son of Peace to you. Remember this affirmation: I am a child of God. I am whole, I am perfection, I am complete in the eyes of God. God created you a whole perfect child of God. And to say differently is to say that God creates imperfect beings. You are not imperfect. You are a beautiful child of God. Now take responsibility for that and allow God's love empower your heart today to reclaim your inner divinity, integrity and beauty, and fly. Peace. Namaste. Shalom. Inshallah paxet bonum. OmShanti. Solo di caritas. Salam alaikum. And may the peace of what is sacred to you reawaken your heart to bring your ego under control in your heart. Take back your power and live an abundant life where there is no fear, no worry, no procrastination, no doubt, no anger, only love, God's love. A blessed New Year to you and to all our brothers and sisters in the Teo community, past and present. In the words of Francis, may God reward you, the beautiful child that you are.